I had the chance to share the locker room with like Ballon d'Or winner, Ricardo Kaká. In that time he was in Orlando, and I remember Ricardo Kaká calling me Dikwa, pass me the ball. That was a dream. And playing with a Ballon d'Or and seeing how humble he is, I was just wow. I was just wow, and I feel I learned a lot from him.
Hello, welcome to the United Soccer Lounge. My name is Riley James. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Episode 4 of this project, and it is a big one, exclusively here on Goals TV. The 2023 USL Championship MVP and the Golden Boot winner, Albert Dikwa, joins the program. Fresh off a move from Pittsburgh to Rhode Island. We talk about that. What makes an expansion franchise so appealing for the MVP of the league? He answers that question, as well as explaining to his Cameroonian parents where Rhode Island actually is in the United States. He had a hilarious answer, along with a great example to the next generation of how to carry over 2023 success into the following year. Albert shares his mantra of what this offseason has been like, transitioning from one team to the next, but also keeping the same passion and fire for the game that contributed to every individual acclaim last season with Pittsburgh. And also we talk about the state of African football around the world and how African footballers are being perceived, not only here in the United States, but globally. Really a fantastic show. Could not have asked for anything better from the MVP of the league. Thank you so much to Goals, to USL, to Rhode Island, and to Albert for doing all of this. Again, I wouldn't be any good just talking for 20 minutes. So the fact that I have all these people supporting this project and great players like Albert doing the show, I could not be more thankful. So I'm not going to hold you up anymore. Our interview with the 2023 USL Championship MVP and the Golden Boot winner starts now. Now joining us, the 2023 USL Championship MVP winner, the Golden Boot winner, formerly of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, now currently with Rhode Island Football Club. Please welcome to the show, Albert Dikwa. Yeah, Albert, thank you so much for the time, and how are you?
Good. I'm doing good actually. Happy about the 2 goals I scored last weekend with my team. So yeah.
Yeah, quite the start. First couple of points in club history over the last 2 weekends for you guys. Just before we get into anything of your previous time with Pittsburgh, this start with Rhode Island, what's it been like to just start with the club from scratch?
For me, there's no like big difference to be honest, because I'm obviously working with people who knows the game better than me, and then the adaptation wasn't that hard for me because it's the same football, it's the same sport, so there's no like that big difference because obviously I have like more people here that know the game maybe more than the other teams, because I know the head coach is a former player, and yeah, I'm happy to work with him and to get better.
So your jump to Rhode Island obviously surprised a lot of folks around USL. What made this club and this situation so appealing for you to leave Pittsburgh and head over to the north?
Like for a soccer player, it's always hard to decide after every offseason, But personally, I want to be around people that make my job easy. That's mean if I'm happy, everything will be easy for me. And I felt Rhode Island is the perfect place for me because I know I will be surrounded by good people. So, yeah.
So let's talk about 2023 a little bit. You were the MVP of the league, Golden Boot winner. I mean, every accolade you could possibly have as an individual, you were on that list. You accounted for 40% of Pittsburgh's goals. What clicked for you last season? What made it so special?
It's a long process, It's being like, I know I've been in the league like for almost a while, and I cannot tell you something like there's hard work, nothing but hard work. So I'm a hard worker and I trust the process. And thanks to God, I got reward for that.
Do you have the MVP trophy or the Golden Boot displayed anywhere? Is anywhere special, or where is it?
Oh, I left it back home in Cameroon. So my family. Yeah,
um,
so I left them back home in Cameroon. Yeah.
that's it's good. You know, it's a piece of you back home. I'm sure your family really appreciates that, and I'm sure it was nice to see them during the off season. You talked a little bit about working hard and just being the hardest working player off the pitch. When it comes to the off season, the transition from Pittsburgh to Rhode Island, what was your mantra all off season to replicate this kind of success you had last year?
Yeah, it's a big challenge for me, Even signing with Rhode Island, I know that I have to do my best to help the team to go get the championship, go win the trophies. And my off season wasn't easy. And I had my personal trainer was like almost pushing me every day. I was like training twice a day, and because I came kind of late, I didn't had like a full preseason because I was waiting for my visa stuff, and that took a while. But in the meantime, I was working, and I remember one of the day like Coach Kano sent me a text like telling me that I hope you're not just sitting on the beach. I was like, come on, coach. I was like, come on, coach, you know me better. But he was joking though. He was joking. So my off season, my mindset was like, yeah, coming to Rhode Island to help the team to go get the championship, get the trophy, to win games. Yep.
What has the meshing process been like? Obviously, a group of players, some of which know each other, some of which don't. Obviously, all coming together for the very first season of this project. How has preseason been and the first couple weekends been just clicking and getting together?
The preseason was good. It was good. So I know we're still finding the chemistry, but you can see the last two games. We look good, we look good. So there's no worry about that because we have like the staff who knows they know what they're doing, and we only have one job to keep trusting the staff, and they've been doing a good job with us, especially with the forward. You guys can see the connection between me, Joe Brito, Noah. So that's a good sign, that's a good sign. I love playing with those three, so I hope we can bring more joys and goals to the fans and the city.
Now, I obviously managing expectations, expansion clubs in every sport across all levels. There's always some growing pains of getting used to of being a professional club. Now, obviously, you had great individual success last year with Pittsburgh. What is your definition of success this year in Rhode Island?
My definition of success, that's a very good question, actually, because some of the guys ask me, like, what do you think will be your main goal this year? I told them like it's easy. It's easy. My main goal this year is just to help the team to win a trophy. To win a trophy, I will do my best because some stuff you cannot control. Like you cannot control like scoring goals every day. That's impossible. But one thing I can help the team is like my energy, my leadership, my happiness. Like always be positive. That's my main goal this year to help the team to get the trophy.
And obviously, starting off great, 2 goals in 2 games so far this season for you. Obviously, we talked about the start of the season a little bit, but scoring 2 goals so far this season, just very very young season. Is a continuation of what you saw last year? What are you seeing in defenses for you to exploit that so often?
Uh, I'm gonna give the credit to the Rhode Island coaches for these last two goals because I remember the day before the game, we were like walking about the movement inside the box. We were walking about the opponent team, the weaknesses. So when I scored the first goal, Coach Carl just told me, say like, "Let's go, Chico." I told you. I was like, "Yep, yep." So I know he's like I say, I'm really blessed to be part of this team, and I feel that I will learn a lot with the coaches, and I'm happy right now. I'm happy right now, and I hope I can bring more joys to the team and to the fans by scoring a lot of goals.
Now, I want to go back a little bit in your career. You were associated with an MLS B team earlier. Has that had any impact over your development over the course of your career being involved with an MLS team? Not necessarily the first team, but definitely in that program and in that culture. How has that impacted the rest of your career, even to today?
Yeah, signing with Orlando make a big impact of my career because I had the chance to share the locker room with like Ballon d'Or winner Ricardo Kaká. You know, in that time he was in Orlando, and I remember Ricardo Kaká calling me Dikwa, pass me the ball. That was a dream, you know, and playing with a Ballon d'Or and seeing how humble he is. I was just wow. I was just wow, and I feel I learned a lot from him in that side because whatever you are, you always have to be humble. You know, you have to be humble and then keep working. That's the most important thing I learned from Kaka and Orlando City.
Yeah, no, I have his jersey hanging in the closet right now. One of my first ever soccer jerseys, one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, Orlando City. But
Yeah.
a fantastic uh, point in American soccer that the B teams were so closely associated with USL. Now we have moved away from that with MLS Next, and that program is great. But you're one of the products of players that benefited from MLS teams having USL affiliates. You have now made your name in USL Championship again, the MVP of the league on the show today, as well as the Golden Boot winner. Now I want to talk about something I've made friends with some African journalists, some Nigerian journalists. A friend currently playing for St. Louis City right now. His name is Joshua Yarrow, who is from Ghana. I've had extensive conversations about the success of African football, and it's just been so much over the last couple of seasons. Both World Cups, both men and women, the sides are getting better and better. From your standpoint, how have you seen African football grow, and where do you think it is right now?
I think it's about the process, you know. It's about the process, and more African footballers they they try to have like more confidence on themselves, you know. Because in the past, when we talk about football, people say, yeah, it's just Europe, you know, it's just Europe about football. No, in these days, like you can see in the World Cup, how many African teams like beat some big names, you know, and it's all about the mindset, and it's about the long process because like it's something that started maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Now we having like a good result, you know. And there's one thing maybe I will say to the African Federation is just keep doing the good job because we are on the right path, you know. Everything is looking good right now, so they just have to be they just have to keep doing the good things, and African players need to just keep believing on themselves, and because football is for everyone, you know. Football is for everyone, so yeah.
No, it's been amazing to see the success of especially Morocco making it to the semifinals on the men's side, making it to the round of 16 in the women's. Ghana pushing to the very last day. Senegal's had a ton of success on the men's side with Sadio Mane. It's
Yeah,
the African football is something that's always been. We always see it at the World Cup, and then we forget about it for a while, and then it comes back, and we all watch the African Cup of Nations, and it's just really a great celebration of the game, and it's a great celebration of these countries every 4 years. But we're watching more consistently now, and we're seeing those players play in Europe, in the United States, in big leagues, and for big teams, and it's great to see the perception change of of
exactly.
of the African
Exactly,
player.
like yeah, like I was saying, like we had like we have like some big names, you know, some big names like that influence like the football in the world, and right now they are in the other side helping like the development in the African footballers in the African football, you know. And like I say, it was a long process. It's a long process that we're getting result right now, and hopefully in the future stuff will get better and better.
One last thing, and I promise to get you out of here. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I want someone who is a not American's perspective on American soccer. Obviously, you've been here for a long time. You've gone through a lot of different stages of what American soccer is, and playing
Yeah.
in what I think is the most pure form of American soccer, the USL Championship. Before you arrived in the United States, did you have a perception of what the US would look like when it comes to soccer? And now that you've been here for a while, has that perception changed?
Yeah, the perception has changed a lot because when I came here, first of all, I came like for school, and when back home, when we say America, it obviously it's mostly about basketball, you know, not really about soccer. But when I came here, I was surprised because there's a lot of people in that country who knows the game, who knows the game better than you expected, and playing like, for example, playing the USL Championship, just the level just getting better every year. Every year, it's like you can see the result, like USL players signing in the big teams in Europe, going like playing in a good league, playing the good teams, playing like one of the biggest competitions in the world. Like, yeah, soccer wise, I would say, I would say, I would say it's nice. It's nice.
Well, we're certainly getting better and better.
Yeah,
From the national team standpoint, from the league standpoint, MLS
yeah,
is growing. Obviously, USL has had a massive explosion of popularity and growth in the last 5 years. Something we've talked about in the show quite a bit.
yeah.
I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I'm excited to partner with USL on the show, obviously, but um, it's thanks to guys like you, right? We see a ton of American players come over and have success, but foreign-based players have to come over and be exceptional on this level and have to push the league to have broader markets outside of the United States. So thank you to you for all of your hard work, both on and off the pitch. Side question: do you have to? Does your family understand kind of where Rhode Island? Did you know where Rhode Island was before you signed there? Because it's way up there, tucked into a corner, very small. How much did you actually know about Rhode Island before you signed there?
To be honest, I didn't know anything about Rhode Island. The only thing that I know is that yeah, it's close to Boston and in New England. So that's the only thing I know about Rhode Island.
What did you tell your family
So
about Rhode Island?
I was like, yeah, I'm staying in Rhode Island. They say, where's Rhode Island? I just told them in the United States. They say, oh, nice. I was like, yeah,
No, I know you spent time in the United States. I know you've been in Pittsburgh. What is a
yeah,
Rhode Island winter like? I know we talked about winter last show with Marlon Harrison over in Hartford, Connecticut, but
yeah.
what is a Rhode Island winter like?
I think it's kind of similar to Pittsburgh, though. It's cold, even right now it's still freezing outside. So I'm already used to it, coming from St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and now Rhode Island. So I'm used to it. So yeah, I can wait the summer to come so I can enjoy some nice view.
Not quite Orlando.
I know.
And you guys just spent I think it was a couple weeks, maybe a week down in Bermuda. So it's,
Yeah,
you
that
got
was
some warm
that
weather.
was yeah, I know. That was crazy. That was nice. That was nice. I was like, wow. I never been to Bermuda. Like, that was my first trip there. I was like, I don't want to come back. Come on, coach. Just get me there.
Set up our home stadium here. Let's play some games.
I know.
Uh, That's awesome. Well, hey, Albert, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck to the rest of the season. Keep scoring goals and put Rhode Island on the map for everybody, okay?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Albert for his time. Thank you to USL and Rhode Island for setting that up for us. And as always, thank you to Goals TV and the people that watch it. We certainly cannot do this without you guys, so we appreciate it so much. If you'd like to connect on the internet, at Riley James IAC on Instagram and X, at goals.tv on Instagram, at goals_TV on X. And as always, you can find more videos like this on www.goals.tv. Thank you again to everyone that watched. to everyone involved, especially to our guest. For Albert Dikwa, I'm Riley James, if anyone cares.